Hi guys, welcome back to the DrCliffAuD vlog. This is vlog number 101, and I hope you're all having a very Merry Christmas with your families. In fact, I was going to be talking about my family Christmas that we did a week ago, but I actually ruined my family Christmas because I got COVID for the second time. That's right, I got it the first time, I was vaccinated, and then I got it again. So go figure, I had to ruin it for everybody. But nonetheless, I'm not gonna be talking about that this week. I was gonna be talking about it today, but there is some new news on the Build Back Better Act front. But before I get into me talking about the Build Back Better Act and where it's at right now, if you could do me a huge favor and click the like button, it really helps out my channel and it encourages me to make more of these awesome vlog videos. That being said, I really appreciate it. Now let's talk about where we're at with this Build Back Better Act. So basically, at least for the rest of 2021, this act is completely dead. And in case you are unaware, the Build Back Better Act actually had a provision inside of it that was going to include hearing aid coverage inside of Medicare, which is why I paid attention to it, because I am not a political guy in any way, shape, or form. But I'm forced to pay attention to how things are going because now with, over-the-counter hearing aids and the Build Back Better Act with hearing aids being covered by Medicare, with those being political things, I have to essentially pay attention to some degree to politics. But if you have not seen my review that I did several weeks back, I will go ahead and link those videos down in the description when I was talking about the Build Back Better Act. And I even did a kind of like a recap of my initial review of the Build Back Better Act with the hearing aid coverage side of things. So if you want to check those out, go ahead and check those out right now. But just to bring you back up to speed, again, Medicare was actually going to have hearing aid coverage and audiologic service coverage inside of Medicare now, if this act were to be passed. But essentially where we were at is that it was in the House of Representatives. They had created this act, had modified it, whatever. They voted in favor of it, which means that it had to go from the House over to the Senate. Now, once it gets to the Senate, they make whatever changes potentially that they would want to make, and then they vote on it, and then if it gets voted in favor of, it would go back to the House if any changes were made, and then the House would have to re-vote on it and say yay or nay whether or not they want this to basically become approved or voted in favor of and voted, I guess, into law or whatever. However they term that, because I don't know, I'm not much of a political guy. But that's basically how it works. But where the hang-up actually happened, because as of right now, it seems like this bill is completely dead. But where we're at right now is that Senator Joe Manchin, who's a Democrat from, I believe, West Virginia, in the Senate, he is not in favor of this whatsoever. And I think he's thinking in terms of the individuals in his home state, if they would not vote or be in favor of an act like this, he doesn't want to vote in favor of it because then that costs him his chance at re-election when it comes down to re-election time. And so he's not willing to risk that. And so he's been working with President Joe Biden to try to figure out how could they modify this Build Back Better Act in order for Senator Joe Manchin to feel comfortable enough to vote in favor of it. Because when you have a Senate that is split 50-50 in terms of the Republicans and the Democrats, essentially in this day and age, you need to have 100% of your party's vote in order for something to go through, because when it comes down to the Senate, if there is a tie-break situation that needs to happen, meaning that there are 50 senators who oppose the Build Back Better Act and 50 senators who are in favor of the Build Back Better Act, the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, would be the tiebreaker. So if you get all 50 Democrats in favor of it, then it just goes to the tiebreaker, and then of course it gets voted in favor of. But the problem is that the Democrats need 100% of their senators to vote in favor of this act. And if you get one individual who is not in favor of it, meaning Senator Joe Manchin and potentially other senators, we honestly don't know, but you're in a situation where there's no way that this is going to get passed. And so they've been in negotiations for the past, it seems like several weeks at this point. And, they were speculating that if it didn't happen before the end of the year, chances are is that it was not going to happen over the course of 2022, because then these, politicians start worrying about the midterm elections. And if they ended up voting in favor of something that did not go well, or that their constituents were not a fan of in their home state, then it could cost them re-election. And I think that's the main concern for Senator Joe Manchin of not wanting to vote on this even right here in 2021. But the way that it came across in all the news reports of it, and me watching a couple videos and interviews, is that it seems like Senator Joe Manchin, no matter what they do to this bill, he's just not going to vote in favor of it, because we're at a point right now where inflation is absolutely sky high, and the last thing that he really wants to do is add to the deficit as it is right now. And, you know, it is what it is. I mean, different people have their own opinions on what's good for the country. So be it. You know, if you think it's a good idea, great. If you don't think it's a good idea, great. It's irrelevant to me, or at least I'm not going to share my opinion about it here for the whole world to see, because I believe that politics, in my own opinion, is something that's private, even though there's a lot of people who make it a public thing, and that's totally fine. Do you, right? But we're essentially in this position right now where hearing aids are not going to be covered by Medicare. It's potential that hearing aids are not going to be covered by Medicare for the foreseeable future, if ever. So if you're someone who's been putting off, like hoping that this whole, you know, Build Back Better Act is going to allow hearing aids to be covered and audiologic services to be covered within Medicare, you are probably going to be disappointed, and you might as well, at least as of right now, completely give up on that hope. And if this does not happen over the course of 2022 before the midterm elections, it's probably not going to happen, because all it would take is one seat to be lost by the Democratic Party, and then you're essentially going to face gridlock for the next 2 years, and then who knows what happens after that. But then you start pushing this act back further and further and further to the point where it's just going to be dead, and then they're going to have to try to work in this provision to another bill for hearing aids inside of Medicare. But again, I don't see that happening anytime soon, and that is a huge if. So if you're willing to risk it, I mean, I guess go ahead, but the outlook does not look good for individuals who are waiting for Medicare to cover hearing aids and hearing aid related services. So I apologize. I mean, the videos that I made earlier, again, that I have linked down in the description of this video, it seemed like all of this stuff was going to go through. I would have put it in the favorable category in terms of if it was actually going to pass. But when you get some of these, you know, more moderate individuals on the Democratic side, I think we just started to realize that it was something that was probably not going to happen, and it looks like it's pretty much dead at this point. So it is what it is. We can only, you know, work with what we've got to work with on the political side, and you know, I think it's unfortunate for some people, and then it's fortunate for other people. For their own particular reasons. So that is really all that I wanted to cover today, guys. You know, I'm sorry that this video probably disappointed some of you. You know, I didn't, that is not my intention to disappoint you guys, but I just feel like I just have to share what I know with you and how it relates to hearing loss and hearing treatment. So hopefully you guys did like this video. If you did like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And as always, guys, I will see you next week.